Hope when you take that jump, you don't
something
feel
like I
the
posted that
fall.
quote by G, having something at stake for them. So I think if they had some kind of thing that could actually be put out there in the real world, that would really kind of capture that and motivate them. Challenging as I was trying to consider the different roles each of us have. How can we meet all three of our needs? So a link that I posted in the Google Doc, Dan Meyer, talks about kind of this 3-act teaching, how I should rethink teaching. For his 3 acts, the first act is kind of like, so making kids actually want to answer the questions. He always has like a visual to inspire that. Act 2, kids actually use some kind of tool or technology. 3, a lot of times they'll like produce their own finished product to demonstrate their learning.
At the elementary level, it's a lot like how we write a story. We start out with introducing, and then there's a conflict, and then there's a resolution. It would be a good framework for how we make our lesson. You know, we kind of start out with a hook, and you know, we go into what are we actually trying to have the kids do. That would be kind of like Act 2, overcome some kind of problem or obstacle, and then they would solve it.
Pose this question to them, then they have the freedom to, you know, kind of explore it independently, and hopefully just by inciting that curiosity, it'll give them more of that intrinsic motivation. They'll actually want to do it.
It's almost shifting your frame of mind as far as being a teacher and what is important to really get them hooked and to stay interested.
Challenge, why it's a wicked problem, is they all have such different interests, so how can we design and evaluate that was lessons fairly?
The social media part, and they had to post a video or had to take a picture and explain something and everybody else could comment on it. They're not going to want to do a bad job if other people are going to see it. You could, like Lindsay said, incorporate social media somehow. Maybe they have to do a blog. But I just know that would add to the intrinsically motivated part. That's part of our initial problem.
We could start with a blog, write things down, record videos. Again, like you said, choose what they put on there. And we could encourage them to share that on Twitter so that others can see that.
Yeah, I found one that was primarily focused on just project-based learning. It just gave me ideas on how we could use technology to get students working together, you know, to get them motivated.
First article that I found where it kind of connects the project-based learning with specific technology or using technology. It also summarized, you know, what project-based learning was all about. It said teachers believe that technology-based publishing opportunities directed to real audiences made them think through their steps. Publishing it to the internet motivated them to create final projects that were more professional or made for others to actually view.
The solution to having intrinsic motivation is to do project-based learning, like that's the core of the class, but then it also has to be shared. I was talking about the project-based learning in a social studies classroom, and they had to do a web quest and research, and then they made posters for it. Our solution would be, okay, we could have students do a web quest, but instead of having a poster, they would have to share it digitally, so that way they were more accountable and more people could see it. So that's kind of